Warning. If you might be offended by foul language or off-color jokes, now is the time to kindly fuck off.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Londoner Calling Pubcast. As always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Barry Tate. Barry, how we doing today?
You don't give a fuck.
I do give a fuck.
You don't.
I ask every week because I care.
Every week.
Because I care.
I text you during the week and that, and I get text back, but not in them. You text about Arsenal when Chelsea lose, you're on the fucking text, but you never say, how you doing, Barry? How are you, Barry? Do you need any money, Barry?
Ooh.
So just admit you don't give a fuck and we'll move on.
How many times do you text me about how am I doing?
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, there you go. At least you're open with it. Yeah, I care about you. I care about you. You're my friend.
You're not getting a hug. You're not getting a fucking hug.
Maybe one day. Maybe
Just
one
get
day.
on with it.
All right, let's go into the Premier League. It was a crazy weekend. A lot of movement at the top again, some movement at the bottom. Where would you like to start?
Tell you what, I'm going to start, not where you thought I'd start, okay?
Yeah.
And I mean this. My daughter said I'm a bit harsh towards you and things I say and Tottenham fans. She put you in the same category.
That's mean.
And so I've got to be nice to you this week. So I'm going to be nice. And we're not going to talk about Arsenal.
No, let's do it. You've been foaming at the mouth for this.
No. Yes, of course I have. But
You've been waiting 4 months for us to lose.
Arsenal, I'm going to have to tell the truth.
Which is?
You can't handle the truth.
Okay, buddy. I mean, we can handle it, but...
What movie was that from? I've been waiting for that.
A Few Good Men.
A Few Good Men.
That's
did you
our
get
producer.
that one?
Yeah, I know that.
It
yeah,
did?
producer.
There we go.
There you go. So
Did I do it better than him?
Of
Nicholson?
course you did. Of course you
I
did. I think they should have hired you.
I could piss on him, Nicholson. How many Oscars he won?
Not enough.
No.
Not enough.
Give them
You
to
would
me.
have more.
Give them to me.
You would have more, of course.
You can't handle the
We
truth.
will start with Arsenal, I guess. We can be there. Arsenal lost 2-0 to Villa. First loss of this calendar year for us. Brutal loss, but... Again,
Why'd you have to put this first loss of our calendar year? You fucking, let's just say we lost. Why'd you have to put that like it makes it better? You lost.
We lost.
The one you needed to win, you lost.
I don't think that it was the one we needed to win. I think that
Well, you
every
did this
game,
weekend.
well, every game was the one we needed to win. To be fair, at that point, if we wanted to keep
Yeah.
that, but again, we lost. It sucks. We've now had 3 different leaders over the last 3 match days in the Premier League. Man City now taking the
It's
lead
been the
role.
second season that you've come runners up.
Potentially, yeah,
Must
it could
kill
be.
you. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I won't sit here and lie and be like,
No.
oh yeah, I enjoy it. No,
Oh,
it does.
yeah.
It definitely sucks finishing second. Everyone knows that.
Always the
But
bridesmaid,
again,
never the bride. That's Arsenal.
I still trust the process. I still trust us. We're still in the mixer. I'm not going to give up just because we lost a game.
In 5 more games? In 5 more games,
6
you can look
we
at
did.
me and say, Barry, you were right.
I mean, maybe. I very well could look at you and say, Barry, you were right, and we finished second
Do
again.
it now, get it over
But
with.
no, why would I give up? You want me to give up so bad?
I just don't want you to get hurt, boy.
Oh, I'd rather get hurt. I'd
Alright,
rather
get
get
hurt,
hurt.
get hurt.
What's the old phrase? It's better to love and lost than to never have loved at all. I'd rather be there and lose than not be there at all, than have my season be over in February, right? I'd rather be here. And I think I talked about this a little bit, but like, as an Arsenal fan, today we played Bayern Munich in our first...
The other day I was watching Chelsea and I was scratching my bollocks while I was watching.
Okay, good
I
start.
had to take my hand out because
Yeah.
I got past. I couldn't count any more on that hand. The goals we scored.
Yeah?
I had to stop scratch me bollocks and go 6. Yeah.
Congratulations. So we
Yeah,
can
that's
move on.
all
We
right.
can move
That's
on from
okay.
Arsenal if we want, but I will say this: like, I still trust the process. I'm not giving up. 6 games left. We're here. We're at this stage. We're competing with the best of the best. Relish in it. Enjoy it. It may not always turn out the best way, but goddamn, like,
What do you
enjoy
mean?
it.
It may not.
It may not.
Don't say may not. Say it will.
You never know. You never know. You're a little pessimistic, and I get that. I would be too if I was sitting in 9th. But anyways, we can move on. Let's go to your 6-0 win. Chelsea 6-0 over Everton. Cole Palmer shooing for the Young Player of the Year award. Do you believe he deserves the PFA
I'll tell
Player
you
of
what's
the
good
Year?
about him. He's right up there with Allard, whatever his name is.
Who?
Alland. The centre forward. I can't say his fucking name. They're all
Holland.
That's what I said. What did I say?
Holland. He said
Holland's a
Odd.
country. Holland's a country.
Holland. Erling Holland.
There we go.
It's also his name.
The
Yeah,
Dutchman,
he is.
there we
They're
go.
both on.
I know he's not Dutch.
Yeah, I say he's Norwegian. They're both on 20 goals this season. The difference is Palmer has done it with 9 penalties. Palmer is also up for the playmaking
It don't
award.
matter. He's not in the position that you know.
I'm just saying it is a fact that he has scored 9 penalties. And we'll get into that. I brought the penalties for a reason because I do want to get in.
We will.
That's why I wanted to talk about the
I
penalties,
texted
really.
a Man City fan next. I texted a few of them.
Of course you did.
And one of them gave me a good answer, and it wasn't Russ the Bust. I called him.
Love
it wasn't
Russ.
Russ the
If you're
Bust.
still watching Russ, we
I
love you over
text.
here.
I said, "Hey, if you got any Cole Palmers you want to sell us?"
Oh my God.
And one of them texts back, Have you got any De Bruyne and more De Bruynes?
Yeah.
So
that's it.
I wasn't thinking when I
that's
sent
a good
it.
one. That is a good one,
It
too.
shut me up.
Yeah, you know who else Chelsea used to have that we should have brought up was Salah, too.
No, it shut me up.
Used to have Salah, too, so that is funny. You had Cole Palmer as well. You did sell us the
You know,
best player
we
in the
all
league.
do that. We check, especially, as I said before, that's a good thing now.
Mm-hmm.
Like later on you'll see in the podcast, we're talking about watching soccer years ago.
Yeah.
And you had to wait till Monday morning. If your team if Chelsea beat Arsenal, I had to wait till Monday morning. I couldn't wait to get to work.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's all text and what the game's going.
Yeah.
And I, sometimes inside of me, like we might be 1-0 up and I think, no, I better not. Let's wait till the finish. But I can't. And I go up there and I get all lippy.
I know you can't.
I know you can't
because I get the text.
We're
I
1-0.
try to wait till the game's over if I'm going to talk trash to someone. But trust me, the second that I know a team goes 1-0 down, I know Barry's getting that. Oh, you're shit. There's shit.
And then they score 3 like against Sheffield United.
Exactly. I say like
but
Sheffield.
pissed on them,
You were
know.
texting me all the game.
know.
Oh, it's too easy. It's too easy.
I've done it where I'm just about to press send and the fucker score.
94th minute, McBurney. Delete. Yeah. So, anyways, I do want to take a look at after that 6-0 win you had over Everton. Again, congratulations, big win for y'all. That was potentially a turning point. Your next game is Arsenal, so a big one for you coming up.
You should be shitting yourselves.
I would be if we were playing someone serious.
Hey, I'm telling you.
So, looking at the table though, Chelsea are currently.
It's going to be harder. I mean, we're not going to score 6 against Arsenal.
No, and it's at the Emirates. It's at the Emirates too.
Then
We'll
1
see.
then.
We'll see.
1-0.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Chelsea are in 9th. They have played 2 games less than West Ham, who are in 8th, and 1 game less than every other team in front of them. They are 3 points behind Man United with a game in hand. You can overtake them.
And we've got a better goal difference.
You do have a better goal difference. That 6-0 really helped. Well, Man United have -1 goal difference or something.
And who's there? Because there were 3 teams will be on 50. Who's the next one there up there?
You have Newcastle is also on 50. They had a
better
big
goal
win.
difference, yeah.
They had a big win, 4-0 over Tottenham. We'll move to that in a minute. But do you truly believe that you can sneak into Europe right now? You have some tough games coming up still. You're still in an FA Cup as well.
We can sneak into Europe. It's actually how Newcastle get on. I'm not worried about Man United.
I like that. You're more concerned about Newcastle than United. I would be too with the talent on each team. I think that Newcastle has a better chance of scoring goals and they have a better defense as well.
He's a Swede, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, he's brilliant. I would take him.
Where did they get him from?
They got him from
Sweden.
Real Sociedad.
Okay.
Yeah, is where they bought him from January.
January. But he really doesn't look. My like centre forwards a bit, boy. You know,
he's lanky. He's very skinny. He's very tall. He's very skinny. He's not that muscle.
He's got your build, but he's 2 foot taller.
He is brilliant. Yeah. He is
and
just
darker.
brilliant. And we'll talk about. We can move on to Newcastle now. They beat Tottenham. That puts Tottenham, and with Villa beating us as well. Tottenham still have the game in hand on Villa, but they're now 3 points behind, so they have to win to cash in.
I didn't check them. What's the goal difference there?
Tottenham have lost that better goal difference because of the Newcastle
4-0?
result. So funny enough, Newcastle beat Tottenham on Saturday. Villa didn't play till Sunday. Villa jumped Tottenham on Saturday just because Spurs' goal difference dropped.
Wouldn't that be brilliant if Tottenham came 5th and it was on goal difference? That makes it so much better, doesn't it?
That would be a real.
I only want 1 goal. I don't want 10 or 12.
That's a real punch in the gut, isn't it?
You lost it by 1 goal.
By a goal difference is brutal.
No. Let's let them lose it
Let's
by
let it
4
play out.
goals.
Let it play out.
No, let them lose it by 4 goals. The difference because see
the Newcastle.
See that Newcastle one came back to bite you in the arse.
So I like that you're more concerned with Newcastle. You would be level on points with them. Again, you're a game behind. You're a game less played. It's gonna be really interesting.
We play them.
I think you do.
I think we do.
I think you still do.
Oh, then we're okay. Then we'll piss on them.
There you go. All right, and then looking at the bottom of the table, Everton they're sitting on 27, Forest on 26, Luton on 25. We're not any closer to picking which one of those teams goes down, are we? We're not. We're just not.
I don't know why. I'd like to think Everton can still do it. I mean, they didn't the other night. They really didn't show up.
They look defeated as a club.
Look at another thing. They've got Seamus Coleman. Okay,
yeah,
I don't know how old he is.
He's up there.
Okay, and then you've got Ashley Cole. And they're both up there.
Ashley Young. Well,
if
it was Ashley Cole, Cole, that'd be really crazy.
No, I was. Anyway.
I know you're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine.
But they got them 2 there, and they're up there. I mean, they've both been good players, but
they're past it. And then I feel like Braithwaite, their young star center back, he's really good.
He
but
went off
again,
injured. I don't know if he's going to be.
I know, and the thing, it looks like he's probably going to leave the club too. Yeah. Beto potentially. I know he's about like he could have put them 1-0 up against Jaw if he was serious. That cross that came in very early in the game.
I just said it hit his thigh.
Hit his thigh and went over.
And I think if that had gone 1-0,
if that goes 1-0, that's a lot of
Yeah.
different momentum.
Yeah.
I do want to go back to Chelsea one more second. Cole Palmer, is he your PFA Player of the Year, as it stands in the league? Is he the best? I think he's Young Player of the Year guaranteed.
Oh, you're definitely young.
Young for sure. I have a very interesting shout for Player of the Year.
Who?
Ollie Watkins. He's the
Yeah,
only one.
no.
He's the only one
Yeah.
that's up on that Golden Boot list that does not take penalties for his team.
Yeah.
Every goal he has been from open play. You look at him; he's dragging Villa potentially into a Champions League spot, potentially a Conference League title. I know that is away from the PFA, but
And
still,
he scored the goal.
he scored the second one against us.
He
Yes.
should win it just for scoring against Arsenal.
Yeah, no, for real, it's not
Yeah,
easy to
no,
do.
just-
It is not
no,
easy to
no.
score against
Oh,
us.
he-
Fair play. Yes, yeah, roundabout that one to make it better about our defense. So yeah, I would pick him. Who would you pick for PFA Player of the Year right now?
I wouldn't have thought of him, but what I don't see why not.
Yeah,
Watkins,
I'm
you
cool
know,
with Watkins.
Cole Palmer, of course, but it's not all about scoring. I know he's up there.
No,
I mean, you know,
it is
he's
about
level,
what
but-
you're
and I
doing
know
for
he's
your
getting
team
penalties.
overall too.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what. How old's Watkins?
It's not too old. 20s, early 20s.
early, about 23, 24.
Yeah, 23, 24 probably.
I don't know. It's not like 2 or 3 years, isn't it? But in soccer terms, it is. It's half. You know.
It's 2 more years of experience at that level.
So I
which,
think
again, this is
Cole Palmer,
Palmer's first season.
I mean, he hasn't missed a penalty. I mean,
No,
given
he
that,
hasn't.
I mean, a lot of them have, and he
Yeah.
hasn't. I mean, he's got the calmness, and it is a calmness that, or a confidence, whatever you want to call
He's
it.
playing with swagger.
Yeah,
He's
No,
playing with
that's what
swagger.
As long as he's always got that, he's going to be good.
Yeah.
When he loses that swagger, it's the swagger that gets him through it, and it's not cockiness actually. Some
Yeah.
players you think, oh, you prick, but you can't with him because it's just what's all this shit?
This is his
Just patting
celebration.
himself, is it?
It's if you're familiar with Trae Young in the NBA, his nickname is Ice Trae, and he does this like I'm so cold, like I'm icy basically.
Okay. Oh,
so
I
he's
see. Well,
cold Palmer. Oh, I'm ice cold. I'm
okay. There we go.
nerves to
I'll tell you
steel.
what, how many podcasts have we done?
Not enough.
Not enough. Well,
Not
that's
enough.
the first time I've learned something from you
Love it.
in all the podcasts.
Look at that. Look at that. I'm teaching people, Mom. Check that
it
out.
wasn't worth fucking learning, but I learned it.
See, it's something.
Yeah.
I do. Last thing I want to talk about, and then we'll get into our interview with David because
Yeah.
it's a really exciting
I'll
interview.
tell you what, there's this bloke dies and goes to heaven.
Yeah.
And he's up there and he gets up there, St. Peter's there with a clipboard.
Yeah.
He says, mate, name, he says, Johnny Smith. He's gone, no, sorry, mate, you can't come in here. He said, why not? He said, well, it says here that you've been a crook and a villain all your life. He said, you can't come in. He said, but that was in my early years. They said, I straightened up towards the end. He said, no, sorry, mate, you can't come in. He said, well, don't we get one last test or something like that?
Yeah, yeah.
He said, I'll tell you what, here's a teaspoon. I want you to go down to the Trinity River in Dallas, scoop all the water out of the river, then we'll let you in. He goes back with a spoon. He's gone for a year. He comes back a year later. He gets the spoon. He throws it at the St. Peter. He says, I can't do that. He said, that's fucking impossible. I can't do that. He said, well, you can't come in. Oh, come on. He said, then I said, and then just one more test. Just one more test.
Give me something
He said,
real.
I'll tell you what. He said, it's not a test. He said, but if Arsenal win the EPL, we'll let you in. He said, give me that fucking spoon, baby.
Wow, man! Every week you got something like we're not there. We're
You're
there.
like,
We're there. We're still there. We're gonna be there. And you know what? I'm not giving up on us yet. So you might want to.
I
keep
know you're
that
both
spoon.
Arsenal fans, but that was called humour.
Yeah, keep the
Okay.
spoon. Keep
All
the
right.
spoon. We're still there. We're still there.
Yeah, you keep scooping that water out of the Thames.
I do
wankers.
want to talk about one more thing before we get into our interview, and that is the penalty incident that Chelsea had.
No,
What
that's
are
my
your
wanker of the
thoughts
week.
as a
That
fan?
has to be the wanker of the week, all of them.
Yeah, I was gonna I'll spill a little bit here. I'm probably gonna give it to one of them. I'll detail that later after the interview. But at what point? I mean, Poch came out after the interview and was like, "Palmer's our pound taker. We're not doing that
But
anymore."
how many teams? I've seen some other teams not as bad
I've
as that.
seen it
I've seen
occasionally.
it. I know. I got the penalty. I'm taking it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We saw Somerville do that for Leeds a week ago, right?
Surely you're a top team, and we are a top team, wanker. And he's the
Top
penalty
9.
taker. They all know it. I don't care if you
Top
got the
9.
penalty. I don't care if you got your leg. If you
Yep.
broke your leg getting the penalty,
Well,
he's taking it.
Here's my thing for it. When it was a pressure penalty against Sheffield,
no, absolutely.
was
no one wants it.
was Noni walking
Yeah.
up trying to was Jackson walking up trying to take it? They were all saying, you go ahead. But when you're up 4-0 and there's no pressure on it, suddenly everyone wants to play.
No,
That's
no.
bullshit. That is bullshit. That is improper.
And the man's up there to win the Golden Boot. Let him win it.
That's what I'm saying too. Like I know that I remember Tottenham did that for Son a couple of years ago, letting him take penalties over Kane when it was close for the Golden Boot. Why not? Like just he's also hasn't missed. You don't switch it
what
up.
gets me.
You
Yeah,
don't.
yes.
And I know Madueke hasn't missed. He's 2 for 2 when Palmer's been off.
And I don't care
But
if
you
you're winning
don't.
4-0, which I think we were at the
You
time.
were. He was 4-0.
That doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No.
It doesn't matter.
No,
So
I don't. And it gets me as well when even with the England team and national teams, you go extra time, then it goes to penalties. And for some reason, some of them, I take it. You for fuck's sake.
No,
give
you have a
1 to 10.
list. You have a list. You know who's good. You know what it is.
Teams now, they're doing it more because it's coming to that a lot more in games.
The goal bonus at Chelsea must be crazy, is all I can say. The goal bonus those players must be on must be fun. But anyways, we're gonna wrap there for our Premier League talk. I know we didn't get to everything, but I feel like we got some good coverage there. Do we get to a prediction, by the way, on which team goes down from you? Of the three, we're not any closer on that?
What, going down?
Between Everton, Forest, and Luton? We're not any closer, are we?
No, I can't. Actually, I think Everton can still pull out of it for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, the way they played the other night, but that might be. Look, if
that's a
it's now or never. Don't wait till the last
ass.
game. It's all on the last game. Let's do it now. So.
Yeah. Anyways, well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about a lot more. We'll talk about other finishes across Europe. We'll talk Liverpool. We have a great interview coming up with our friend David Clarke.
No, I've got one more thing to say.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
All right.
Yeah.
So when I listen to the podcast when I'm driving, and it's actually a good listen. Well, I am. He's not. I mean,
when he talks
in me. I'm fucking interested in me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I drive along. I listen to it. But the other day, I'm looking at it on YouTube. And I'm looking at YouTube. I thought, have a look at that fucking thing. I didn't realise I got one in fucking... It looks like a third testicle underneath my fucking chin. Look at it. Look.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, because I get the sideway view with the camera. They get you face on.
They have cameras set up. We have
Fuck
cameras
off,
set up.
we show the side view. Your face
have
on.
The same
sitting
angle.
there looking like a fucking 12.
We have a great interview coming up with David Clarke, guys. Make sure you stick around. Liverpool supporter. It's going to be a blast. Don't look at Barry's third testicle on his face.
Fucking
Great
chicken
interview coming up. Thank you, guys. Stick around for that. Hello and welcome back to the interview section of our podcast. Today we are joined with Liverpool fan David Clarke. David, thank you for being here.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good to be here.
Hey, before we start this thing, normally I give our guests a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a coffee bar I go to, Buongiorno. David owns them in Grapevine and Fort Worth, and they've got a roastery.
Good promotion.
So we got to be nice to him. Could I go there for my coffee?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
along them lines, we will not mention Liverpool's last game.
All right, enough of that.
No, we won't.
We won't.
Is that clear?
Crystal clear.
And by the way,
Crystal
it's
clear. Crystal
Buongiorno
clear.
coffee
That
in
went- that was the waste,
Grapevine
wasn't
and
it?
Fort
That was
Worth.
so good.
Hey,
He let that slip. That was such a
I know,
good Crystal
thank you.
Palace joke. I loved that.
I told you I don't want to talk about Liverpool
Oh,
this
we
week.
won't. Well, then, you better
Oh, I
leave.
hate to break it to you, but that's kind of why you're here, brother. That's
Oh,
kind of
okay,
why you're
okay.
here.
Anyway, go on,
we got
carry
plenty
on.
to talk about.
No, so let's talk about Liverpool. Let's talk about how did you start with Liverpool? Where did it begin?
Okay, well, I'm from Manchester, would you believe?
Ooh, just
And
like Dave.
Oh,
Dave
yeah,
from
my,
London.
My parents, big
Disowned
Man
him.
United supporters, and my sister currently has and has had for 20 years a season ticket to Old Trafford. So
Wow, really? Yeah.
she and I are really good friends.
Yeah, I bet right now.
Anyway, that's the background. But see, I've always been a rebel, right? So
course.
as a kid, I'm like, I'm not supporting those.
Yeah.
I won't say it on live.
You can say it. No, please
but anyway,
say it.
I want
You
to
can
support
say
these
shit.
people.
Yeah.
All right, I will. But here's the thing. I'm not going to support this team. So I had a bunch of cousins and uncles who lived in Liverpool. And I thought Liverpool was a much more attractive, proposition. So I decided at 5 years old,
Oh, is that it?
at
Okay.
5 years old, I'm going to be a Liverpool supporter. And
Love
that's it. I've always supported Liverpool since I was 5, which makes, that's 30 years now.
Yeah.
Okay. Truth on the table, right? 62 years.
Wow.
I am 67.
62 years supporting the club.
Absolutely.
You should be dead by now.
Jesus
Thank
Christ,
you.
No, I'm just
Barry.
saying.
Yeah, you said you were going to be rude. You're banned from my coffee shop.
Yes, this is you
yeah.
you get your coffee there every day. Good
there's
lord.
always
Not
Starbucks.
anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah,
There's
no
always
more.
Starbucks.
No
So
way.
62
Shit.
years supporting Liverpool.
Yeah.
Let's just get it. What's the greatest moment you've had as a supporter?
Well, that's a difficult one because we've had
know.
so many. We've won so many things. So many
Yeah,
more
of course.
things than
Yeah,
Arsenal
yeah, really.
and
yeah.
Chelsea,
Well,
especially European Champion League. I mean, I
On
guess-
that note, what time do you play today in the
No,
cha-
no, tomorrow.
Oh,
Tomorrow,
yeah.
tomorrow.
Oh, that's not the champ. That's the
Yeah,
Europa
yeah,
League.
okay.
That's
And
a
what was
waste
the
of
what was
time.
the score of the first
when was
leg?
the last time you won it?
We didn't have it yet, but we're working on it.
Okay. Well,
they
we beat
think
Spurs.
they're going to come back from 3-0 down like that famous
I was
one
about to
against
say- I was about to
AC
say,
Milan.
Watch this space.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Barcelona.
You know we already beat them 5-0, don't you? In 2020. At their place.
That don't mean nothing,
I
does
mean,
it?
it can happen.
Nothing.
Anything can happen. It better. I mean,
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're hopeful. I get it, but let's
So
be
go,
real.
let me take you back to one of my memorable moments, because it was a memorable moment, was when I went to Old Trafford to see Liverpool play
With your sister.
Man United. No, my sister wasn't even. She was born, but she was too small to go to a football game.
Got you.
So I went with mum and dad.
Yeah, okay.
And we stood, because there was no seats in those days. I don't know if you know that. No seats at all.
Okay.
Everybody stood up.
Yeah.
Well, apart from
The owners.
The owners,
Yeah.
you know, the ones that are, you know,
Yeah.
rich. Anyway, we're in there, and you know what they used to serve? They used to serve a plastic cup with Bovril in it.
Yeah.
Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
Bovril is
What
there.
is Bovril?
Yeah.
Jack Grealish loves that stuff. He's trying to get all the
Does
Man
he?
City
Shit,
team to
it's
drink it. I
horrible.
was reading it. I hate it.
What is it?
Basically, is it
I
beef
couldn't
stock?
stand
What
it.
is
Yeah,
it?
it's beef stock.
It's
Beef
just
stock
a thick
with
beef
hot
stock
water in
with
it.
hot water.
Oh, that sounds disgusting.
It is.
Yeah, but
That
when it's
sounds
freezing
disgusting.
cold and you're standing
Yeah,
there
yeah,
watching
you
a
just want
shit
something
team,
It does.
you'll drink
yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we played Man United, and I remember the name. You may recognise these names: Ian Callahan,
Yeah,
Roger
yeah.
Hunt,
Oh, yeah.
and our goalkeeper Tommy Lawrence, the
The
flying,
Flying Pig. I was going to ask you about him.
Yeah, the
I
Flying
couldn't
Pig.
remember his name. He was a goalkeeper and he was a
Yeah.
little bit
He
plump.
was
So they called him the Flying
yeah,
Pig.
yeah.
That's
Flying
hilarious.
Pig.
And
Yeah, I
there's
knew
a-
you didn't know that.
That's a brutal nickname.
and in that game, George Best had a brilliant shot, and the Flying Pig literally flew across the thing
Honestly.
and saved it.
Because
love
years
that.
ago,
Brilliant.
I don't know if it's like it, and years ago, if you were playing football in the streets or in the playground, the fat fucker was always in goal.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
yes,
it
and
was.
it was,
It's the
wasn't
big-
it?
it's
He
the-
couldn't run.
Even for me growing up,
Yeah.
the biggest kid goes and stands in goal.
Yeah,
you
that's
take up
it,
the
yeah.
most space,
Okay,
right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's a great name now, the Flying
The
Pig.
Flying
I
Pig is
remember him.
absolutely
And he was
incredible.
really
I
good.
couldn't
Tommy
remember his
Lawrence.
name. Tommy, I do
Yeah,
now,
yeah. And that was when Shankly was
Yeah, okay.
manager.
Yeah, Shankly.
Yeah, so we've had some great moments. You know,
Yeah.
in those days, we won leagues, we won European. It was called the European Cup in those days, not the European Champions
Yeah.
League. A bit
But when
highfalutin
you've
now.
supported a team for that many years, and you ask what's your... But there's so many moments. It must be hard.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
surely that has to be when you're 3-0 down.
2005,
Is it
Istanbul.
AC Milan?
Istanbul,
It has
yeah.
to be, surely.
That
That's
was
gotta be
a
the best
moment.
one.
I remember that, and I don't even like them.
Oh yeah, well you're a
The
Chelsea
penalty
supporter.
shootout against Milan, winning the cup.
That was
And they
incredible.
missed the penalty, didn't they?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
rebound.
Oh, yeah, they
Alonso,
did.
wasn't it? Was it Alonso?
Gerard was our
Who took
hero.
the penalty?
Who took?
Was it?
who
I think it was
missed
Alonso. I think he missed it.
I think
it
he
was
did.
Alonso.
Yeah, it was Alonso.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
he
see
just-
doing nowadays.
He just won the he just won the Bundesliga
Not
this
going to
weekend.
Liverpool apparently.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere apparently.
No,
the
no, well,
rumors
good
are
for
that
him,
him
Leverkusen.
and they're keeping their big player Florian Wirtz, their superstar young
yeah.
attacking mid.
What's the most unpopular man on the German soccer terraces? The most unpopular fan on the German soccer terraces.
Unpopular fan.
The most unpopular one.
Who?
The one at Borussia Mönchengladbach that shouts out, "Give us a B!"
Very funny.
That would be
Just came in my head.
that would take a long time there.
I mean, all credit to Alonso. I mean, he's.
Oh, he's been brilliant.
You know,
this
I
year,
would have.
hasn't
I'd
he?
have loved for him
But
to
that
come
was
to
that
Liverpool.
game the one that you really... I know you remember that. What else
Definitely.
is there?
Well, that was really remarkable. But
And the
other
Barcelona one,
Barcelona
has to
one.
be, doesn't it?
The
Barcelona, I was
4-0
gonna say,
Barcelona game.
corner
was-
taken quickly.
And I,
has to
you know
be.
where I,
It's
you know
only,
what-
only because of the ball boy. I mean, he really got that
Well, it
ball.
was
It went
Trent.
out and he gave it quick to the Liverpool player.
Yeah, but
didn't
Trent actually walked away from the ball, and
Yeah.
then he looked and he ran back and
Oh,
took
okay.
it.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
He acted
But you
like
know
he
where I
was just
watched
stepping
that?
back.
At the Londoner.
Oh,
So I'm doing you a favour.
Yeah,
The
here we
Londoner
go.
Oh, there you go.
In
Well, I mentioned your
Colleyville.
place. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he went back to Buongiorno Coffee.
Yeah,
On
there we
his
go.
Saturday.
Yeah, coffee.
Got
Londoner
to mention
mixed
it
up.
again.
So how long have you been going to the Londoner? Is another good question to go from there.
Well, since it was over in 26 in Colleyville.
We were on Highway 26, now we're on
Yeah.
Highway
I used to go and watch the
121.
games there.
Yeah. So for how many years do you think that would be?
Let me think. I reckon at least 10. I think I came just after you opened,
Yeah,
actually.
that's about 10 years ago. I lose track. We do, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Like I say, people come on here and they all give us the days, the time, the date, the year, and
I'm too old for that.
well,
You're just like I was there.
Yeah,
and you were there for all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
But I-
yourself, you can watch the news. Something happened, a year
Yeah.
ago, and it'll come up in the news. Oh, this time last year. Fuck, has it been a year already?
Yeah.
Like, it goes like that's anything.
No, I had my friend he'll send me. My friend will send stuff like on Snapchat. It'll remind you of when you took the photo, and he sent me one today, and it was when we were in college. Like 6 years ago today, we were doing this. I'm like, oh my god, we're both like
Yeah.
6 years ago. Like, good god, like it
I know,
flies.
time
It flies.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I'm
Yeah,
changing.
no.
It's all right,
Back to Liverpool. Let's go into modern times. Let's go to
Okay.
today. So
Yeah.
obviously, myself as an Arsenal fan, we've been. Yeah, I know. Yeah, okay, buddy over there. All right.
At least we're not Chelsea fans.
Yeah, it could
right?
be worse. It could be worse.
6-0 is not bad, is it?
No, but
Yeah,
it moved.
as a one-off, it's not bad.
Yeah, no, it moved you up from 9th to 9th. So
No,
congratulations.
until we can go above Man United.
I know.
That's all I want.
I know.
I don't give a shit about anything
we're-
else.
I'd be happy with that.
I will,
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll get into that more. Actually, we'll probably talk about that earlier in the episode when it's
Yeah.
just us. We definitely will, because I do want to dive into that race for the other European spots.
Race?
Well, it is a race, and
A race?
it's a lot. And I say it's the tortoise and the tortoise, and then the other tortoise, and then another tortoise, and they're all
plod. It's
racing
not a
to
race,
get
it's
that.
a plod.
Yeah, someone has to win, right? On
Oh,
that.
just letting you three. We're
getting our producer.
Just letting you two know, there's a penalty today. I'm taking it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just letting you know
Oh,
straight off.
yeah.
All right,
Oh my God,
carry
that was
on.
interesting.
Oh, no.
So, as an Arsenal fan, we've been competing with Man City for the last 2 years in the league. How do you deal with the team that never loses in this part of the end? Because right now it's a great title race. Obviously, it's Man City are 2 points ahead, but they're a draw away from us overtaking them or y'all overtaking them potentially on goal difference. It's an incredible title race. How do you, as a fan, stay locked in and deal with this unstoppable force that has been Man City?
Yeah, I know. Well, we've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
You're new to this.
Yeah, no, we're only 2 years
You know,
into this.
And it shows.
Yeah, we can still do it.
No, you can still. They can still do it. But the thing
they can,
is,
but they won't.
we've done this several
Well,
times. I mean,
there.
I'll go back to when we the first time we really came close, right? And then Gerrard slipped against
Yeah.
Chelsea.
Yeah,
all
right,
right,
Chelsea
okay.
and-
That was my funny enough. That was my greatest moment watching Chelsea. Funny enough.
That's
But anyway.
shows us
Wow, you really won,
what a sad
you've won
guy you are.
Champions Leagues and
The
leagues
funny
since
thing
then.
is
But
that
you're,
Gerrard, out of all the things he's done, that's
I
the thing
know,
most
I
people
know.
remember
it's
him
crazy
for.
too
I know.
because Gerrard never won a Premier League. So when you really deep
That
too
was
of
it,
like
wasn't it?
that was it,
That was-
right?
yeah,
that was it.
And I'm taking away from Gerrard. Gerard's one of the greatest midfielders ever. So please know that I'm not making fun of him and his career in Champions
Yeah,
League.
but another time when they could have won it, Palace did you again.
I know.
I know Palace
know.
again, right? They were up 3-0.
So, yeah,
they come
yeah,
back 3-3.
Well, the thing is, what happens is, and Liverpool have always played like this with Clarke. Basically, we're going to score more goals than they do, but we're still, always vulnerable in a sense. And so what happens is we get under this situation where we're close, really close, but we just drop a point here, drop a point there, and that's it. They just don't fail.
I think the thing too is because of how good Man City are, that room for error that you could afford in, say, the Bundesliga or the Serie A or Ligue 1, right? Because we see PSG don't go perfect. I know Leverkusen are perfect right now, but they're also 15 points clear. They could have afforded to drop points, right? But when teams like you look at like Arsenal or Liverpool, right? This year, it's like we go on these runs and we lost our first game last week to Villa, and suddenly now City are top.
Yeah.
It's like, well, look at the perfection you have to just compete with these giants.
Last week, or someone was saying, you're on like 99 or 100 points, you would have won the league by now. Who was saying that the other week?
And this year's different, right?
This year is different.
Because they're not going to get
Because of
99
that,
points, right?
No, I think the most
Well, it's
teams
being
could
shared
get is
amongst
somewhere
three.
around the
Yeah,
90s,
yeah.
right? But I think it was Arteta that said last week, like, if you look elsewhere in a different league, if we had gone on the run we just went on, right, 10 wins and 1 draw to start a calendar year, we'd be 8-10 points clear at the table. But because of the quality of the Premier League between Liverpool, Arsenal, and Man City, and then there's everybody else.
Yeah, there's a
but
few
like
others.
those top 3, there is no margin barely margin for error.
Yeah.
So
Well, when you have $100 million substitutes, I mean,
we talked about this off pod,
I mean, okay, people say, you're just complaining, whatever, but
All over the years, Liverpool and Man U, they've had the money, they bought the top player
no,
with
but
the money.
Not the way-
no, that's not the same.
It's different rules for Man City when they
We sold players.
Yeah.
We sold Coutinho for 140 million, and we're able to buy a couple of players, right?
Can you imagine that?
I know,
my
brilliant,
God,
really,
that's
a brilliant
mad.
bit of business. That was.
It was like I was selling Hazard.
Yeah.
The funniest
Never
part,
played
the
from
funniest
the
part about the Coutinho transfer to me is his most iconic moment while being owned by Barcelona was while he was on loan at Bayern, scoring twice against them in the 8-2. That was his best performance while under.
Have Arsenal ever sold a player for a lot of money? More than a tenner.
Honestly, I think some of our highest sales were like Iwobi for like 45 million to Everton.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
No,
Yeah,
we
that's
really
not
don't
a
have the
lot.
player.
No,
No,
we haven't sold.
Nobody
We're not
wants an
a
Arsenal
selling
player.
club. We're not a
Nobody
selling
wants them,
club.
even if they're good. You don't want
Really?
them. It taints the club. It's like it's an infection. It comes in and it spreads it all around the club. Nobody wants an Arsenal
I hope our
player.
infection lasts a little longer
Yeah.
then, because I don't know. I hope
What?
you should try getting an infection for Chelsea then, because y'all can move up the table a little
You bought
bit.
$1 billion.
You're talking about
pounds
a billion
worth of-
pound squad, and you're sitting in ninth
Can't
making
use the
fun of
word
us.
bottle job.
I don't want to. I want to be
No,
nice
go
to
on,
you,
use
but
it. Go
billion
on,
bottle
go on.
jobs,
Yeah,
billion
there
pound
we go.
bottle jobs. There you
There
go.
we go.
The thing, but it is sensible business when you I'll give you an example.
But no, wait a minute. We're selling players as well.
I know,
We're gonna
I know.
use
No,
squad,
but
so
you-
we're not going to get done with that PP, whatever the fuck they
But
call
you
it.
bought
You
Lavia
will-
and Caicedo, both number
Caicedo,
sixes,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Caicedo and
I'm
Lavia.
not defending a lot of the buying over the last year or
Yeah.
two with the new people. They came in and
They just
They just
get to know them,
spent.
get the feeling.
They just
Yeah,
spent.
I know they were buying really young players.
That was the
that's
goal.
It. They do it
well,
now
the
and then
8-year
for the next
contracts.
5 years,
Yeah.
we don't have to. It doesn't work that way.
No.
No.
You know?
You
No.
need some senior leadership in the squad. Someone needs to be a vocal and on the pitch leader. I know you have Thiago Silva, but again, he's very dwindling towards the end
It's
of his
like,
career.
we said before, Chelsea are signing their players to 10, 12 years contracts.
8-year contracts. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's ludicrous.
It's also
Hey,
a
I
way
got
to
married, I
dodge.
signed on for life.
It's all.
It's all the way to dodge the rules. That's
Well, the other way
problem.
that Chelsea dodged rules, I don't know if you saw this. Todd Bowley sold one of his hotels and then
Yeah.
reported the money like as a sale for Chelsea, and they allowed that.
Yeah, I know.
It's-
But
yeah.
was it a hotel? Was it the hotel right where Chelsea is on the ground?
No,
or
I
what?
think it was just one of his other hotels that
Okay,
he
okay. I
owns.
thought it was the
And
one that was at Stamford Bridge.
I don't know for sure, but it's still you're selling a
Anyway.
hotel and then reporting it.
But going back to your
Liverpool.
Yes.
Liverpool and Arsenal actually, just as opposed to
How can you
City.
put them in the same category?
because we
It's up
are
to you.
right now.
Because
We
right
literally
now we're in a
are.
similar
We
position.
are, we're
And
literally
also-
level on points right now. We could not be in a more similar position.
And
First time in 20 years, I make the most of it.
We're here. We're here.
Hey,
But Arteta is also doing a similar job that Klopp did. Was basically you got young players like Chelsea, but not just a whole bunch of them.
No, yeah.
He's introducing them gradually, so you get some synergy between the players. The problem with these teams that think they can buy themselves into, unless of course you got the money that City have got, and
Yeah.
you can buy these players. You have to kind of build a team, and that's the thing that Arteta's
well,
doing.
even when you
I'll
buy
give him
it, we
credit.
still got to build it. Even
Exactly.
if you pay $1 million for each
Exactly.
player.
Just because you spend big money does
Means
not mean the
nothing.
player
No.
works. I mean, Nicolas Pepe for us right there, right? That was
Right,
one of our,
yeah.
did not work out. And there's many Anthony at Man United, Jadon Sancho at Man
Yeah.
United, and there's plenty more
I mean,
across
I
the
was
board,
with a
right?
really expensive hooker one. It made no difference. It's no
There you
difference.
go.
The cheaper one I was with. No
See?
difference whatsoever.
Look at that. That's great economics.
It is, isn't it?
Translating
Yeah, yeah.
right there.
That's
It
it.
goes across
Typical
all-
Chelsea supporter. too.
Typical. On that
Yeah.
note, on the Jadon Sancho, I do want to say this since we all probably don't like United that much. How funny is it that Man United got kicked out of Europe while Jadon Sancho?
Did he
is
score
in-
yesterday?
He didn't
Sancho?
score. He didn't
Okay.
score, but he is in a European semifinal
Yeah.
while Ten Hag is about to lose his job, most likely. It's kind of
Talking
crazy.
about that, so I've never been to Anfield. Obviously, you've been to Anfield.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've always known, when you get the crowd and they're all singing,
Oh,
"You'll Never Walk Alone."
amazing.
When I say you can't beat it, that Borussia Dortmund takes some beating now.
The yellow
you look
wall,
at the crowd,
the yellow wall.
The yellow wall.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And they sing "You'll Never Walk Alone" in perfect English.
I saw them sing that yesterday.
9 million
I saw them
Germans
sing
singing
that
an
yesterday.
English song
yeah.
in
It was
perfect
beautiful.
English.
So
You know-
You understand them more than you do the Scousers.
You know what you're saying about good moments though, and another good moment which is kind of negative was again that Barcelona game because Coutinho was playing for Barcelona in that game,
Oh, I didn't
right?
know-
Yeah.
So there he was. He gets stuff to Barcelona. We get 140 million, and then 2 seasons later we're at Anfield, beating them 4-0 with Coutinho thinking,
What
what
the
did I
hell?
do?
Yeah, but that was unbelievable. 4-0. I mean, how does that happen? I mean, Barcelona. I mean, they were Messi and with all of them. wasn't
Messi,
it?
Suarez,
But also,
yeah.
do you remember who scored the goals?
Well, I
Yeah.
can't remember.
Origi and
Origi,
Wijnaldum.
Wijnaldum. Yeah, Jorginho Wijnaldum.
Because
scored a
we
lot
had
of goals.
people injured.
Yeah.
We had forwards who were injured. So we had the Origi and Wijnaldum.
You can even go back further to the first leg of that tie, where Dembele missed the one-on-one with Alisson at the very end, and
Yeah.
it's like that could have ended the tie too.
Right,
So
could
it's
have
so
done.
crazy that those little moments just set up so many things. And
Well, I'm just hoping for a repeat tomorrow night.
There's certain games you don't have
Yeah,
to be
of
a
course.
Liverpool fan to. I remember them, and I'm not
Yeah.
a Liverpool fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, we had some great battles with Chelsea in the Champions
Yes,
League.
yeah.
We
Yeah.
always drew Liverpool in the semi-final, or we'd get Man
True.
U in the final.
We
Yeah,
always
Man
draw
U,
Bayern Munich, I feel that.
It's like if you get through, and I hate to see that, you get Man City if you both get through. I'd
Yeah.
rather that be in the final.
yeah,
You know?
I
Yeah.
will say I don't want to complain about the bracket because you had to beat them to win no matter what. You had to beat
Yeah.
the best. I will say yesterday's Champions League games and all these ties up to today. We're recording on Wednesday, so we still have Man City and Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern and Arsenal still to play.
How many drinks did you have before you came on this?
Not
one?
enough.
You sure?
Not enough to deal
Maybe
with you.
should.
Not enough to deal with you. Next time I'll have more. But the ties have been brilliant, haven't
Yeah.
they? They've
Oh,
just
yeah.
been brilliant,
Yeah.
and this is like proper UCL footy.
Yeah.
It's back and forth. If you watched the games yesterday, I don't know if either of you did. They were incredible. Dortmund, Atletico, back
They
and
was-
forth,
I
back
think-
and forth.
I think they have to score 2 or 3 more goals collectively today,
And it'll be a record.
It'll
Yeah,
be a
so-
record.
Oh
yeah.
my god, it's incredible.
You never got that, did you, years ago? I don't know if it's because everyone's playing this high line now. It must be, mustn't it?
I think it's just the Champions League is so much different than league play, where tactics are so important in the Premier League or the
tell you what it
Bundesliga.
is.
But in the Champions League, it's way more down to individual quality and moments
I
of the
know what
players.
it is.
Yeah.
There's no Italian teams in it. They're the ones that ruined it for years. They'll score a goal and sit back and
Yeah.
them and all their fans in front of the goal.
I'm sure he's tired of seeing Italian teams in
Yeah.
Europe at the moment too.
No,
Yeah.
don't even let them in next year.
Well, they did make the final last year. They were in the semifinals. Was the Milan Derby last
The way
year,
they
and then
play, it's
Inter.
not about them being there.
Yeah.
Of course, if you sit back and you just go on a break and wait for, the Mourinho and God knows what else.
You're making fun of Mourinho like he didn't change your club a little bit. Like, come on. Mourinho at Chelsea was brilliant. He
We
gave
took
you
his
so much
good
success.
years and we moved him on. We took
There
the
you
best
go.
out.
I never
Off
liked
you
him,
go,
even
mate.
at Chelsea.
I still don't like him. I do want to go back to Anfield. You talked about being there. What is it like? Because I think it's the toughest away ground to play in probably Europe, genuinely. Can you speak a little bit more on it?
Well, first of all, for anybody who's never been to a football game in England, there's nothing like it. And I've been to every single American professional game. No atmosphere compared. Seriously.
Yeah.
You're in Anfield, or even where I went. I've watched games in Southampton and other places like that, and even those places, they're buzzing and humming and shouting and singing and booing and the whole
you left
time.
out swearing.
Oh,
Yeah.
and swear.
Oh,
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
swearing.
of course.
Yeah, they're
Well, that
swearing.
goes without saying, right? But the thing is,
Yeah.
you can't beat that atmosphere. And so when you got 55, 60,000 people, and they're all up for this game, including the away supporters, right? Because they're all trying to
Everyone's
compete with
locked
each
in,
other.
Yeah.
You've been to, is it Atlanta? They've got a really good
Yeah, Atlanta
crowd
has
there
a really
in,
good
in the
crowd.
MLS, but is it near to it or
I
as
mean,
good? Or
I don't think
you haven't been to
anything-
England.
I haven't been to England, so I can't compete or compare. But like the crowd in Atlanta was really good. I went when Atlanta was like peak years for MLS with like Josef Martinez, Miguel
Right,
Almiron.
yeah.
They were facing Wayne Rooney, DC
He's probably
United.
getting
He was
there.
like-
He's probably getting
and
there
it was
now.
loud, but like I've also been to a World Cup in Brazil, and it wasn't even close. Like, come on, like, it's not even
Yeah,
close.
it's honestly you.
There's something about the way
Yeah.
football's set up. Well, also,
Something about the atmosphere. It's
yeah,
crazy.
but also the whole stop-start kind of routine in American professional sports.
Yeah.
Well,
It
with
kind of
VAR,
takes
it's
that
kinda
away,
getting
right?
like that there, isn't it? With VAR,
Well,
not as much, but
Not as much,
But you're
but when
right
it
about
goes
that
to it.
stop-start. That's one thing. 'cause
it
with
kills
soccer,
it.
it builds and
Yeah,
builds.
yeah.
It does.
You can get the same in NFL, and then boom, it stops. You get excited, down. Excited.
I've seen
Down,
stats
yeah.
where like the actual game time that a game is played on like NFL 5-hour broadcast, it's like they only play the actual game for
For
maybe
30
like 30
minutes.
minutes of it. Yeah.
I watched yesterday. I forget which Barcelona.
Yeah.
I'm watching the Barcelona game, and at the end they're showing the crowd. So many of the people in the crowd were crying. Grown men and
Yeah,
women
real.
crying.
So real.
I've never seen that in an NFL game ever.
No, well, you gotta go to a Cowboys playoff game, but
No,
yeah,
the only time you-
yeah, trust
The only
me.
time you cry at Cowboys is when you buy the ticket.
Yeah,
How much
well,
they are?
yeah, trust me, they're a lot. But
anyway,
No, I
going
mean,
back to it,
that's-
the
I really
atmosphere is
mean that.
incredible.
I've never seen that in NFL.
it's
fans
different.
crying.
It really is different because I think with football, it's so intertwined with like your life more than any other sport. Like it's just something about the game. It brings you in. You're so connected. You're so invested that when your team loses, it really feels like a personal loss, and you're emotionally locked in, and you feel that, and you see that on the TV
There is
yesterday.
also would be, as we've said before, with being a soccer fan, you can go anywhere else in the world. You can talk to someone if you can get them to speak English
Yep.
about soccer. You can't do that with the NFL unless you bump into some Yank in Rome.
Yeah, true.
The thing is, it's changed a lot though, because when I was young and I used to go to games, and I had all my friends at school used to support one of the teams. In fact, most of them supported
Man
Man
United,
United
yeah.
or
Yeah.
Man City though.
Yeah.
And the Kippax. Do you remember the Kippax? You ever heard of that? That was the equivalent of the Cop at Man City in Main Road.
I know Main Road, but what's the name
The
of it?
support was called Kippax.
Tip at no.
The Kippax.
Oh, okay.
And these guys used to, we all in class together, right?
Yeah.
And they'd all be going to the game on Saturday, because it was always Saturday. There's no
Yeah,
Sunday games.
No.
Yeah.
And all standing.
Yeah.
And there was none of this kind of corporate nonsense that goes on. So
Prawn
people could go,
sandwiches.
it was like a quid, sorry, a pound,
Yeah, you're good.
for a ticket, right? So we could all go. And it was not an unusual thing for, working class families.
But they've taken it away from that to a degree, haven't they? With just the prices and God knows
absolutely.
what else.
But
You
what
know?
happened was it was a working class game, and that was what they lived for. And Liverpool was a really great example, by the way, because Liverpool was and still is to some degree a more working class area.
If you're working class and living in Liverpool, okay,
You go to
you're
one of
called
them.
rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, seriously, it's like that was and so that was their church. Like Anfield
Yeah, yeah.
is like a church.
It is. It becomes
You know,
religion.
it's a
doesn't it?
religion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so their kind of commitment to it was total.
Yeah.
And they'd have the scarves and the flags and everything.
Kits, everything, yeah.
And they would go to the game every single time. I can't even remember whether there were season tickets in those days. I think it was just buy your ticket.
Yeah, but you always win.
You always went, right? And people were totally committed to it, and so they talk about it all week as well. There's only one game a week usually, or if you get FA Cup
Yeah, you
game,
didn't have much in the
whatever.
week.
Didn't
FA
have that
Cup or
much.
League Cup.
Yeah, but at school,
Yeah.
we'd all be like talking about the teams.
That's it. Oh, everyone at school
In
was
the class.
It's like
Well,
a sports.
the boys anyway.
Well, like I said the last week or the week before, when you used to have the football game on a Saturday, okay, you'd talk about it, and I text someone the other, because now I text during the game when Chelsea are beating Spurs, and I'm texting them on
I
the
love
end
that
of it.
that's the example
But
you
years
gave.
ago, you had to wait till Monday morning.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, you could.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't wait to get to work. It's the only time you want
No, I
to go to
remember
work when
when
you
I
beat
was-
Man United. Can't
Yeah.
wait to get to work Monday morning or school.
Exactly.
You were the first one now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wearing your kit, let everyone
Yeah.
know what's up. It's a part of the thing. I think that was for me growing up. I grew up in the South in Georgia, and college football was a big thing. And I remember going to school every Monday, and we'd sit down like we were the hosts of College Game Day. Like it was Kirk Herbstreit, my friends and I, Reese Davis. We would just sit and have a discussion all lunch about the state of the game and what's going on and who won, who lost, and who's
Sure.
going to be this. I think that's just part of the love of the game, right?
If you're Man United, a Liverpool fan, and you beat Man United,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
if you're living in Manchester, and
Yeah.
Monday morning you can't wait to,
Yeah,
it's
you'd
just
be
to take
there.
the piss
Yeah.
out of them.
Right.
No, growing up as a college, I was a Florida Gator fan. I grew up in Georgia. If we ever beat the Georgia Bulldogs, I rolled into school with the fattest Florida jersey on. I said hello to every teacher that morning because I knew they all hated it, and I was loving it. I
Yeah,
lived for
absolutely.
it.
Go on.
But you know what's really funny? What people don't forget now is if you didn't go to the game, you didn't see it.
Yeah.
It wasn't
No,
on
no.
TV. It wasn't on TV.
YouTube and God knows
Little
And
what.
when we
newspaper
didn't,
box
we didn't
scores,
go
yeah.
to. I didn't go to all the games, but
Yeah.
because I was in Manchester, I didn't want to go to Old Trafford.
Why would you?
But on Saturday afternoon at 5 o'clock, they would read out the results
Yeah.
of the games, right? And it would be the same guy for like years. Do you remember that?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And we'd all sit round. We'd all sit round and listen
I'll tell you what,
because
I
that was the
remember
first time you heard the result.
Yeah.
Saturday afternoon in England on the TV, before the results came on,
Yeah.
which you're waiting for, they always had wrestling.
Yeah.
There was always wrestling, and it was shit.
So you're always watching wrestling.
But it was all fake.
It was, but you
It
had to
was
sit
fake.
through that
Yeah,
shit
the
to
WWE
watch,
stuff.
Big Daddy.
And it wasn't like wrestling now, all that
The
extravaganza.
fanfare and
It was just a man in a
WrestleMania.
pair of Speedos
And they're just fake
smacking
fighting
some
each
other
other.
geezer.
Big Daddy. Do you remember?
Yeah,
Big Daddy.
all of them.
That's
Jimmy,
hilarious.
Anyway,
Yeah. Anyway, so we'd listen to this guy, and he'd say have the same, but he have this intonation on his voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you won, like I'll do it. Arsenal 2, Liverpool 1, and it would go out. If it was a draw,
Yeah.
Everton 1, Man United 1.
You just
You
raise
know,
or lower.
you know before he said
Based
the
on how
second.
he said it.
Exactly. I remember that as a kid.
I love that.
Every time he read his score, you'd know before he said the score.
Yeah.
You'd know who won or drew.
No,
it was really
It's
funny.
like trying to get a little bit of knowledge
Yeah,
just
yeah.
before. Oh, I love
And
that.
we used
I
to
love
go. We
that.
sit there and they go, Man United 2, Liverpool. They lost. They lost.
Yeah. Isn't that fun though? Because
I
like you
always
love the
remember
game
this.
so
I think
much.
I don't know if I mentioned this. I forget what I've said in other podcasts, but Billy Connolly, Scottish comedian,
Yeah.
he always
Funny
says
guy.
his team was so bad. He always thought his name of his team was Kilmarnock Nil.
There's a part of it
Yeah,
that's
he
attached
said
on.
that as a kid. I thought that was
Attached
their
on.
name.
But the other reason we used to listen to those things is because we now live in the kind of Las Vegas world where everybody bets on,
Oh,
the
it's
first person to
everywhere.
put their foot on the pitch or whatever. In those days, there were very few things that you could bet on. My
Yeah.
dad used to do the pools. Okay, the pools was the thing.
Do you know what that is?
No.
Okay, so what you had to do was you had to guess which games were going to end up in a draw.
Okay.
And so you put a little X
What they
all
do,
the
they
way
give you all
down.
the games on this chart.
Yeah,
Like you get
yeah.
the lottery with numbers.
Yeah,
it was all
you have a
teams.
list of all the games and you just
And you
mark
put a little
which ones.
X
Yeah.
in the little box saying this one's going to be a draw, this one's going to be a draw, this one's going to be a draw. And we'd sit there listening to the guy
Yeah.
with my dad holding his pools thing,
He just
seeing
looking
how
at
many
it.
and checking them off like this.
Yeah.
And you know what? He won a few times. He
There you
didn't
go.
win very
I
much.
think to win it all, you had to pick at least
You had to have eight.
eight.
You had to have
draws.
8 draws.
At least.
But some weeks there'd be like 16 draws and you wouldn't win very much.
Yeah.
But if you're like there were 9 draws and you picked 8,
Wow.
you could end up winning a lot of money.
There was a famous woman, I remember her name, bleached blonde. She won £1 million.
Yeah.
And her name was Vivian Nichols.
Oh, I remember her.
Yeah. And they said to her, what are you going to do with £1 million? Which is a lot of money then.
lot of-
is
still
even
a
now,
lot
I'd
of money,
take
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But then it was a
A
lot.
lot
of
more,
money.
yeah.
They said, what are you going to do with £1 million? She went, spend.
And
she did.
they made a movie out of it.
Yeah, with 5 and 10 years, she'd blown it all.
They
And
made a
that-
movie,
yeah,
Sport,
yeah.
spend.
Vivian
That's
Nichols.
crazy. That is something common. You see when people get a lot of money, they typically just
Yeah.
blow it. You see it in athletes too, but that's.
But
wow.
it made Saturday afternoons like a
Yeah.
whole deal, right?
It is like a tradition almost.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody did the pools, didn't they?
Yeah.
They really, a bit like the lottery today, but Probably more fun, I suppose.
Yeah. And the only reason we knew how the games were going, that were going on in the middle, we'd sit there all afternoon.
Yeah.
They had the thing called a teleprompter, and it had this little thing on the TV, like a typewriter thing.
Yeah.
And it would come up and go, Kilmarnock, nil.
Yeah, you see it being printed out.
Rangers.
He does it too.
I run the ticker for NBC now, which is a lot more advanced than that. It auto-populates a lot of it, but...
No, because it was because you see the name getting typed and you're waiting for the...
Yeah, you're waiting for what's the score?
It's
What's the
hilarious
score?
that they actually showed this machine doing it on TV.
I love hearing that. I love hearing how like you used to watch football back in the day as compared to like what it is now. It's so funny you mentioned the ticker too, because like I run that now for NBC. It's like there's so much information that I put in there like every single week. It's like here's all the scores, here's who scored, who got the cards, here's other stats of like they've won blank out of their last blank, they haven't beat this team in this many tries. So it's so funny to hear of like how football used to be watched and consumed as to now how it's consumed and the difference, but the love for it all stays the same.
So talking of information,
yeah.
Okay, so Cole Palmer scored 4 goals actually. One with his right foot, one with his left foot, one with his header.
Yeah.
But I think he went on to beat that normal statistic because he also got one with a penalty. Wouldn't that count?
What
That's
do
the
you mean?
fourth. Well, you get left foot, right foot header, and then the penalty. You can't
Barry,
do any more than that than what he did.
what does he take the penalty with, Barry?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
All right.
So, but the funny thing about that is...
He's the tops.
The funny thing about that is now you could bet on all those things.
I know, no,
You know.
I saw someone did bet on some crazy stuff for Chelsea, and
I
he
bet
won a
that
lot of
Cole
money.
Palmer will score with his left foot in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Betting
I'd like to be the one.
everywhere. I
I'd
wish
like
it
to be the
wasn't.
one that bet on Leicester to win the Premiership.
Well, if you want to,
That was
oh
something.
my god, yeah, 5,000 to 1, but he
Yeah.
could have retired real fast on that. Let's go back to modern day though, right now
Sure.
in the title race. Like I said, it's City 73, us 71. I think we have 8 better goal difference than you, and you're on 71 as well.
Yep.
Do you see it being anyone other than Man City? And if not, like, are you not... and this is for you too, Barry. Are you not tired of seeing Man City win? This would be 6 out of 7, 4 in a row if they do it.
Of course. The
Is
only
it-
and just to say the one that they didn't get was
COVID year during... Yes,
Liverpool,
you won it. Yes,
yeah.
Liverpool
Oh,
beat
no,
them.
even when they won the European, there was no one there to.
I know, but we
it's
still
nice
won
to
it,
win.
though.
But you
I
still
know.
won. No one's going to
Yeah,
take that away.
yeah,
You did.
yeah.
You did stop what would be a probably
But
7
going
year
back to your
Pep legacy.
question,
Yeah.
I can't see how City are not going to win it now, but
Yeah.
I want to be surprised.
Yeah.
And I want Liverpool to win it, of course. But if
It's
Arsenal
amazing,
beat
I
them,
mean-
I'll be happier than them winning. That's
They're
it.
2 points ahead. Okay.
Yeah.
With how many games left?
6.
6. That's amazing. I mean, if they win every one, I know it's in their hand, but you've still got to win every one.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a
Of course
lot.
it is.
It's not a
And
it's
the
not a
same-
foregone
and
conclusion.
it's the same thing
No.
because you were, like I said, it's been 3 different match days. We've had 3 different leaders,
The
right?
only difference between this week and last week, it's in their own hands now.
It is.
Yeah. The problem is when I watch City, they don't look like they're going to lose. Whereas when I watch Liverpool, I'm thinking, come on, guys, you know.
I agree. I think they're a little more sound defensively, and that comes with the fact that Pep likes to play multiple defensive mids. And again, it's a 7-8 year accumulation of the Pep Guardiola project and the money in that team and everything. It's great, and that's not to say that our teams don't have money or your team doesn't have money, but Pep is the greatest ever. It is tough. I just think that there's no point in just saying it. So I think we got to hope, right? Like we got to keep going.
Of course, yeah.
You
Well, we're
can't-
still in it.
You can't win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket. So if we don't keep pushing them, and I think again, if we do keep pushing them, maybe they do slip up. You never know. Maybe that they advanced against Real Madrid, and that puts a little extra games. They still have the FA Cup as well, so they're playing as many games as they can, looking for another treble. We've just got to hope that they slip once.
When Liverpool played, did they play the high press?
Yeah.
They'd be
Not
better
all,
off
not
with
all game, but
They'd be better off with a coffee press.
very good.
I love.
Especially
I
for
love.
you.
Buongiorno coffee, by
Yeah,
the way.
buongiorno.
Yeah,
coffee
I love when 9th place tells us how to play football. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, over
They've got to
there.
say something.
They do. I love when Barry's like, "This is how you should have
I'll
played
tell you
City."
what, we're
I'm
going to
like,
invite you back next year, okay, when you've got no manager and you're lying 12th.
Yeah,
Okay? Yeah, you'll-
that's
you'll
not
be-
going to
you'll
happen.
be
You know
more
that,
than
don't
welcome.
you?
More
We're
than
supposed to be
welcome.
we're supposed to be in transition this year.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be where we are right now. We completely wrecked our midfield.
You've squeaked by a few games, you know you have.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, of
but
course.
think about it. We completely replaced our midfield.
yeah.
How many teams do
No,
that
no, I get
and
it.
end up at the top of the league in the very same season? That's pretty good.
We brought in Rice, kind of changed our midfield.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so far.
yeah.
So,
But all three.
yeah,
of
no,
our
all
midfield.
3 is crazy. We kept.
I mean, we needed change. I mean, Henderson was.
don't even.
Last
Oh,
year
Don't
he
even,
was, wasn't
don't
he?
even.
He did a service.
I saw.
he did, but not last year. Last year he
still
was
putting him in England.
I
they
saw-
were.
he was
a
passing
great-
the ball backwards more than forwards.
When you played Luton and you just won that McAllister strike, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I saw someone post and tweet like, I just started shaking and throwing up, thinking of what Henderson would have done in that situation if the ball came to him. That's either going backwards or it's going into the disabled section.
Yeah.
One of the two. It's gone.
I mean, give him credit when he was playing better. He did actually score a couple from
So
there.
He was your captain when you won the Champions
Yeah.
League and all that.
It's probably a stupid question. Are you worried or concerned for next year, or how many years it's going to take for anybody to adjust, or you think you can bring someone in that can pick up the right, where they left off?
I think the club is very good at doing that. I mean, you saw it with Klopp, right? I mean, I don't expect them to. I don't expect us to
It's
go.
going to give a little while still.
Yeah, we won't
Yeah,
go
I
Premier
would say-
League in the first year, right?
Yeah.
Depends who we get. I mean, Amarin looks kind of
That's the kind of guy that I keep
favourite
seeing
right now,
linked
and
to
he's good.
Sporting,
Sporting
but yeah, for
Lisbon.
Portugal, yeah.
He's done a great job with them. You know?
Yeah, he has.
And he seems like the right kind of temperament for Liverpool.
Yeah.
Liverpool are not going to. They're not going to hire a Mourinho.
Oh God.
They're not going to.
No, I wouldn't hire him anymore.
No.
He's,
much-
Or
it's-
anybody like him.
Yeah.
You don't
In
want
fact-
that much personality
in fact,
on your team.
I think they wouldn't. There was some talk of him hiring. What's his name from? Was it Brighton?
Oh, Deserby.
Deserby, yeah.
I actually would
and you
like
know
that.
what? He wouldn't fit.
Deservy. He don't deserve
I'm
it.
not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I think Man United should hire Deserby, and also I think he would do a really good job.
Yeah,
with
and
them.
also he's the right
So the
kind of.
Sporting
They need a
Lisbon-
more personality
the
there.
Sporting Lisbon
Coach, yeah.
okay.
Amarin.
And you said he's the right character. You
Yeah,
think
yeah.
so for that?
He's the most
You don't
linked.
think so?
I didn't say that.
He's always bitching and moaning. Is he the one to beat?
No, that's Porto.
No, that's
Oh,
Porto.
Porto.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
No,
wait a
we
minute.
don't have him.
Porto's the
No.
coach who
1
after.
minute. I apologise. For the first time in my life, I was wrong.
I'm so glad we got that
First
on
time?
camera. I'm so glad we got that. That's the first time Barry's
Ask
ever
my
mixed him up.
ex-wife. It's the first time. She'll be glad to hear
I'm
it.
sure she'll agree with that too. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
I'm
sure.
sure.
Yeah.
She'll just say all
Yeah.
the great things. But no, Porto's coach, if you didn't see after Arsenal
Yeah.
beat them, he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
and talked about how Arteta said something wrong about his family, but he also said that against Pep and even said that against Tuchel in the past. It's like, oh, okay,
But
buddy.
also with a team like Liverpool, the managers you've had over the years, you've had some. They've all seemed good, to be honest with you.
Well,
Yeah.
hang on. What about Roy Hodgson?
Did he manage you?
yeah.
Yeah, but he was 98. He was good for his age, wasn't he?
98.
Yeah,
he's still managing.
but he's not the kind of manager who's going to
He's
do
not a Liverpool
anything, is he?
manager. He's a
No, but
transition
over the
manager.
years, I mean, you know,
Brendan Rodgers.
Oh yeah, well
all
look
this.
at Shankly, Paisley,
Paisley's the one,
Fagan.
because Shankly, everyone talked about him, but Paisley did fantastic.
Paisley was brilliant. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I love those days. I mean, Fagan was quite good. He only there for a couple of years. Of course, we had
They even named the
Dalglish.
design
Yeah,
of
Kenny.
Kenny
they
was
even named
great.
the design of material after that. Coach.
So, how many? This is an important question because I feel like we talked about this a little bit before the episode, and we see so often managers at big clubs like Man United or Chelsea. They're very quick turnover
Yeah,
rate, right?
yeah.
How patient will you be with a new manager? How long until if it's not working, you're like, ooh, hey, like we have higher expectations here.
Well, Liverpool don't do what a lot of these clubs do and blame the manager as soon as something goes wrong.
I feel like
They've never done
Liverpool and
that.
Arsenal are two clubs that are way more patient with their managers.
what
you
about
know,
the fans?
The,
I
fan,
think
the
the
fans are
the
more.
fans
The
are
fans
very-
are more loyal
Yeah.
as well.
The fans do even
Like
with
you said the other week, Chelsea are so used to success
Quick
in that
turnover
sense,
manager,
quick,
right?
within months.
That's why, like, for Pochettino
Yeah,
right now,
of
it's
course
like
so.
he came in 7 months in, they're like, oh, fire him, he's not doing well. It's like, no managers
If
are
you
Yeah.
come
coming
in
and
sense,
fix-
if you're a supporter, and I mean supporter,
Sure.
support your team, support the transition, support what they're going through.
The managers are important, obviously, but I do think there's a way too much concentration on the manager being at fault. You know, what about the players? You know, look at Man United. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Bruno
Fernandes.
say it, go
Bruno
on,
Fernandes
say
is
it.
the captain of Man United. What a ridiculous decision.
Brilliant.
I mean, okay, that's
Yep.
the manager's decision, but
It's a terrible
the thing
decision.
Is, what you're doing is you're putting a guy in leadership who's.
Not a leader.
I was going to use something worse than that, but
Say it. Say it. Say
No,
it. Say it.
W.
No, come on, say it.
He's always moaning and whining. I bet he's the only man in the world that goes home and nags his wife.
probably.
I bet you.
That's a bold
I
comment.
mean,
Yeah.
seriously.
Man United
But
in
that-
recent
but-
years, we're not going to touch on that, but he's not, even
but
from
the
that
dressing
club,
room
but
is,
okay.
is also responsible, and sometimes these players
No,
they
you're-
get
you're right,
together
100%.
and they have it in for the manager because they're not happy with like they got taken off.
You hear about divisions in the locker room, but
Yeah,
these
because-
guys
but
don't
it's
like
because
him.
they've got egos, right?
Exactly.
So the manager takes somebody off, benches them at 70 minutes, and they get all in a strop, and then
Did
they
you see
stop.
the Garnacho news this week?
No.
So Garnacho got
yeah.
Garnacho got taken off at halftime of the game against Bournemouth. He wasn't playing well. They weren't playing well. Common, right?
Right.
After the game, he goes on social media and starts liking tweets about
Right.
how Ten Hag was wrong to take him
Yeah.
off, and he's a 17-year-old that's carried you this season. How can you take him off after a bad half? It's like you're not bigger than the club.
No.
Stop acting like you're bigger than you're 17. Stop acting like you're bigger than the manager. Take your medicine and sit down if you didn't play well.
How do
Get
you
over
pronounce
it.
his name?
Garnacho. Alejandro Garnacho, the Argentinian winger.
Yeah,
the young
he's a
kid.
garden gnome on the left.
The beach blonde hair scored the bicycle kick this year.
From now on, the garden gnome.
The garden gnome. Yeah, so he was very public, or not, he wasn't tweeting out, but on Twitter, your likes are public. So everyone can see what things you've liked, and everyone saw him liking stuff, slating the manager.
I know you shouldn't do that, but now with all these younger players, they've all grown up with social media, and they all do that. And I know maybe not think of it, you don't. You do
But
that.
the thing
you
is,
drop
what
him,
happens is
drop
next
him.
week, 2 other players get benched, and they go complain on social media, and now there's a
Sancho.
little group
Yeah,
of them.
oh, yeah.
And then there's thinking about
and then you
Sancho
got
in
a
that
dressing
group
room.
too.
Yeah.
He is against the manager.
Yeah.
He was outspoken. He got shipped off to Dortmund. I'm sure he's grateful
So
for
then
it now.
then you fire Ten Hag, and actually you've got a bunch of bad players. You bring in another manager who doesn't do everything the way the players want, and now you got another problem. And I think that's been happening at Man United.
One thing that I love, I know I'm making this about Arsenal or whatever, but when you look at us, Arteta went toe-to-toe with our captain Aubameyang and said, I will exile you. I don't care that you...
no, he did.
And to
Yeah,
be
you gotta
fair,
do that.
and Arteta probably owes his job to Aubameyang because when we beat you in the FA Cup final and beat City in the semifinal, Alba scored all 4 goals, right? Like, he put the team on his back.
Yeah.
He was a Golden Boot winner. He really carried us through a dark time just to be somewhat relevant. But even then, Arteta could tell, like, you're a cancer in the locker room. You're messing up things for these young kids we have coming through, like Saka and Smith Rowe, that we really think can be a part of this team. You're a bad influence. I will kick you out, and I will fight this battle one-on-one. And you don't see many clubs take the manager's side there because these players are such polarizing figures and egos and personalities that it's way more common to be like, ooh, it's genuinely easier for a club to replace a manager that's a little edgy with the fans right now than it is to stick with him when the fans love him and kick out a player that the fans seem to love.
Yeah, we've, I'm not trying to make excuses, but we've had probably a few more injuries of our key players than most teams.
That's
we've
fair.
had Trent Alexander-Arnold, Alisson's been out, Salah was
Chelsea's
out.
had the same thing. We've had a whole back line decimated. I mean, the
It's
left
been,
and right back, the centre.
But we had the whole
it.
pitch. I mean, But the other problem is we had Salah go off to AFCON as well, and then when he came back, he's been crap.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
No, he's
He
being
should
real
have been
about
benched.
this. You don't hear this from Liverpool fans much. Like, he's saying Salah
I'm
should
sorry.
be benched.
I think Salah should be benched.
I agree.
Van Dijk's come on strong this year. Last
He's
year
been-
was okay, but
he's been great.
Van
he's
Dijk.
Great all the
Learn how to pronounce.
I can't pronounce his name.
Yeah,
But anyway,
you
so
can.
I-
You
Don't
can.
get me wrong. I don't want any Liverpool supporters to get all upset here. He was brilliant. Mo Salah was for like 5 years. He was really good.
He's been a bit quiet last couple of games.
But the last this whole season since he got back from AFCON, he's been useless.
Yeah.
He dribbles into walls, he passes it to the other players, he shoots over the bar. I mean, he's just been
what-
really
I'll tell you why.
bad.
Samson, he's had the haircut.
He's had his haircut. Okay,
He's had
that's
his
what
haircut.
and
That was
I will give him a little bit of due because it was Ramadan,
Yeah.
and
Fasting,
he's
yeah.
observing Muslims, so he wasn't eating or drinking before the games. Which can you imagine in this kind of tiredness
I mean,
and everything
I'll
else?
say this: he's not the only player. Didn't Sadio Mane used to?
No, but in this particular
Yes.
situation right now, and this,
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody else in the in the Premier League Championship kind of run in of those 3 teams.
Yeah.
There's got a key player like that,
big, yeah.
who's actually not in his best.
Yeah.
Not best form, and he's also in Ramadan. So,
Yeah.
give him a little bit of slack. But
No.
I really think he shouldn't be playing.
Would you start him Thursday?
No.
Who would you start front 3?
Diaz for sure,
Yeah.
Jota, and Gakpo.
Gakpo on the right.
Well, no, I might put Diaz on the right,
Okay.
Jota in the middle, and Gakpo
Gakpo on the left, where he's more comfortable.
Diaz is a handful.
Diaz
He's
is a
a
great
real
player.
handful.
Diaz is a great
Salah, but
player.
Diaz
He
is
is a great,
coming
and
on
also
good.
he's very, very sharp when he's in the right position and
Yeah.
he gets the ball in front of the goal. He often scores. I mean, he's missed a couple recently, but
Even against Palace, you should have had a few, shouldn't you? I mean, you couldn't. No matter what, the ball was never going to go in the
you
net.
know what?
No matter
We
how-
have the
Could have been 4
record
hours.
for the number of shots on goal and not scoring in the
Yeah.
whole Premier League.
That's crazy.
And also, we have the record for being behind and winning games.
I would
Yeah.
imagine Man United have got the record for the number of shots being
They do.
against them.
No,
Have
they do. No, I looked at, there was a stat, like the worst Premier League team ever was Derby back in like 08 or something. They finished like 11 points. And at this point in the season, I think Man United either have 3 more or 3 less shots faced or something like that. It's something just like
Pretty close.
genuinely
Yeah.
atrocious.
Yeah.
Like you could not believe that this is a Man United team.
I think they should give them a cup for that. I think you should be awarded a
Yeah?
trophy for that. Yeah.
Give
All the
Ten Hag
other-
something.
Everybody else in the league will be proud you won that trophy.
Yeah, they'll see. I mean, they're in a brutal spot, but again, they're still somehow. I don't know how they're. competing.
We've also been unlucky. I don't know if I don't even remember the game. I can't even remember who we were playing now, but Darwin hit the bar 4 times in
yeah.
one game.
Really?
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
Dar-
how can you
it's-
miss?
It's crazy the shots that he'll score and the shots that he'll miss. You would never believe
But
it.
they hit the bar. I mean, like, and then the other day, last week,
Yeah.
Harvey
Yep.
had a shot that hit the bar and the post.
Yep.
And it was the inside.
Oh, yeah,
it
was it
bounced
Harvey that
out
one?
again.
Yeah, I saw, yeah,
It's like,
yeah, no.
How can we not score? It's
But-
like it's almost like a curse.
Such a game of fine margins.
When is Klopp doing a bit like Ferguson did? He knows when it's time to leave. Like his
Yeah.
players that he's relied on and getting
He's-
old, and
he's done-
You don't want to revisit.
It's
think he's
typically a
himself.
7-year cycle is what
Yeah,
he's done at
he's
his
done
previous
nearly
clubs at
9.
Mainz and then
I
at
think
Dortmund.
he knows. He don't want to
'Cause
go and build them all again.
At Dortmund again, like they
Yeah.
were up there because like they went to a
Yeah.
Champions League final
Yeah.
and lost to Bayern Munich, right? But he knew that it was time to move on, and I think that he typically does 7-year cycles. And again, he's got wife, kids, family.
Yeah,
I think he's
Probably.
also
Yeah.
worn out.
No,
That's the other thing
He
too. It's
puts
just
so much
exhaustion.
into it.
Yeah.
You know,
Like you look at these managers and how quickly, honestly, how quickly they age. Like look at them from the start of the job to where they are now. Like how quickly this job will age you and the stress and everything that goes with it. I mean, hell, Pep's lost all his hair.
yeah.
I think the hard part of when you, whether it's a soccer team or a business, is if the hard part is quitting at the top.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to quit at the top.
Yeah.
If we're busy this weekend, fuck it.
You're gonna
that's
quit?
it.
There
That's
we
what-
go.
Yeah, and
I'll
you're
sit-
gonna-
I won't be in
You're going to
Monday.
sit in Buongiorno every day.
I won't. I'm going to sit in this coffee
Buongiorno,
bar,
there you
yeah.
go. I love it. You keep slowly plugging in the coffee shop.
Hey,
It's very good.
come
No,
to
you're very
Buongiorno.
good at it.
Yeah.
All right, so we do have to wrap this interview up, though, but I do need some predictions from you. I need Premier League winners.
Okay.
I need Champions League winners.
Phew.
I need Europa League winners. And if you want to, you can go with the championship as well. If you've been following that title race, it's absolutely brilliant. Southampton are back in it now, by
I know.
the way.
Yeah,
They are, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
no,
they're-
I've got a game in hand.
Well, start
Yeah.
with that.
We'll start with
I
that.
think they'll win it.
Who?
Southampton.
Do you think they come all the way from
Yeah,
fourth to
yeah,
win the
yeah,
championship
I
and
do.
no one in the front
They're
three
on,
wants to
they're
win
on,
it?
they're on a roll.
Yeah? They have
You
a
know
game
what-
in hand?
You know one of the big things that people don't understand about football? Momentum.
Momentum. That's
It
all
is
it
because
is.
it's the right
Totally.
time. You lot have dropped off.
Yeah,
when you don't
we've
need
lost
to.
momentum,
Yeah.
right?
Same with us right now, losing
Yeah.
to
If
Villa.
we can
No, you're
just
just
get
shit.
Yeah, okay. What
No,
time's
you
your
can
game
pick
today?
One
Yeah.
game though, you can get. We have to break this cycle, otherwise we're going to be.
That's where I'm at too, because we lose in bunches. I feel like. But once you get it going,
Well, that's
you're
what
rolling.
happens. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Or we need City to drop something.
Oh my
Because
god.
if that happened, then that would bring
If City
momentum back
somehow
to you
drop-
and Liverpool.
Yeah, if they just
Right.
draw a game,
Yeah.
then we're both.
Draw a game, we're both back in.
All right, so Southampton to win the championship.
Yep.
Let's go Europa League next.
Europa League. I'd love to say Liverpool, but it's like that's really a.
I think there's an obvious answer here, isn't there?
Well, Leverkusen.
Yeah, it's got to be, isn't it? They're just too
if
good.
not Liverpool,
It's Xabi
Leverkusen.
Alonso,
Okay, you
yeah.
can't Liverpool. You can't ask a Liverpool supporter to say we're not going to win it.
What happened to Villa?
Villa.
Villa's in the
Who's
conference
Villa?
league. They're in the
So what one
conference
we talked about?
conference league. This is
Conference
Europa
League.
League.
They're not in the
Okay.
same.
I
yeah.
would pick them to win
No, I'm
conference
talking about
league as
next
well.
year. Villa
Actually,
will win
yeah.
Europa League next year.
Well, they'll probably be in right now.
Just
They're
trying
in
to get
Champions
myself
League.
out of trouble.
They might be in
Yeah,
Champions League.
they
yeah.
might be in Champions
Yeah.
League the way they're playing.
But anyway, that's my prediction for that. Leverkusen.
Okay, so
I
Leverkusen or
guess.
Liverpool if you pull Amanda on Thursday.
Yeah.
All right, let's go Champions League.
Okay, this is a
You
tricky
don't
one.
you don't have a horse in this race right now.
No, I don't. I don't have a horse in this race. I'd really like Arsenal to win it.
Good answer. Good man.
Not
Good
because
man.
not because I'm trying to suck up to you.
No, because you need
Just,
that coefficient.
but
in
you do
England
need to
too,
come to
yeah.
Buongiorno. Okay, so
Yeah, of course, I love Buongiorno, yeah.
But
Great
the thing
coffee
is,
place.
there you go. So the thing
Arsenal.
is, I don't want City to win.
Yeah.
I don't want Real Madrid to win.
Yeah.
because they.
Well, good for you. One of them goes home tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
exactly. But to be quite honest with you, I think one of them is going to win it.
I think odds are you would be correct in saying
Okay,
that. The odds
so-
are City and Madrid are the favorites.
And I actually have a feeling that Madrid might pull it off. To be honest, just a
but,
fun
all right,
thing.
so Arsenal to win the Premier
Yeah,
League.
yeah, okay.
Well, but now the Premier League.
Now the Premier League. This is a really interesting one because,
Logically,
I
it would
don't
be
want to say City, right?
I know no one wants to say City. I'm over them.
I don't actually see us recovering from this stupidity.
So do you think it's Arsenal
I
or
think
City?
Arsenal, City, and I think.
I'll just say City.
Just
Put
say
that in
City.
misery.
It's okay. I don't blame you.
City are going to win it, and I wish they
I don't
would.
blame you. I wish they wouldn't either. But
I want Liverpool to win it first, Arsenal second, and I want City to fall
just
at
once.
the last hurdle. And
Oh,
it'd be
could
so
you
fun.
imagine if it was a last
Yeah,
day thing?
yeah,
If it was a last day thing, that would be
That'd be
so
so
nice.
good.
But the funny thing is, we play Everton the last day. And I saw a funny tweet, and it was like, Everton fans, would you let Arsenal win if it kept Liverpool from winning the league? And they're like, hell yeah, Dominic Calvert-Lewin starting in goal at the Emirates, baby. Like, we'll do whatever it takes if it means Liverpool doesn't win the league. So we'll see. It's funny that we have your rivals at
I
the
know, it's
very
crazy.
end.
It's
It is
crazy.
funny.
Well,
but
we had, was it last year we had Aston Villa in the last game? And
no, it was Man City beat Villa when they were down 2-0 to come back. To
Oh
win
yeah,
the
but
league.
when
you had Wolves.
when Gerrard was managing Villa,
Yeah.
we had a
Oh
last
yeah,
game. It was the year before,
Yeah.
and it was like, oh come on.
It was like Stevie G.
Stevie G,
you know,
please,
put,
let us-
You had to beat
put the
Villa.
jersey on.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was like put the jersey on one more time. Come on, let us beat you, basically.
and it didn't matter in the end anyway.
Yeah, that was every time we played Patrick Vieira at Palace. We're like, come on, Patrick, you know
Yeah,
you want to
yeah,
just
yeah.
lob us the 3 points. Come on, then. But
that was
anyways,
pretty funny.
all right, so we've got Man City
Man City,
reluctantly
I'm
there,
afraid. Yeah.
Arsenal in the UCL,
Yeah.
Leverkusen and Liverpool in
Yeah.
Europa League, and then
Southampton in the
Southampton in the Championship is
Yeah.
a bold prediction. I like
Yeah.
that. Well, David, thank you.
You know
again.
why? I used to live there 2 years.
Well, there you go.
So-
Well, thank you again for your time here on the podcast, spending time with us, talking about your opinions, your
Just
stories
say
at
that again, what you
Anfield.
said.
What? I used
The
to live
words
there.
that were music to my ears. Arsenal second.
Arsenal.
Go on, say it.
Arsenal what?
Second.
Arsenal second.
Arsenal, yeah.
Yeah, I said it.
There you
Chelsea,
go.
Tell me-
Chelsea ninth.
There it is. There it is. I was about to say he's talking a big game like he's anywhere near the top. It's like I don't see.
Sorry,
you
you
No,
deserve
I don't
that.
mind. I don't mind. I can take it.
I don't see how you can hate from the outside of the club without getting in
No,
personally, right?
absolutely.
You're hating from
but
your-
he's a good customer, so I
No.
can't insult him too much.
And one more
Anybody
time,
want
where,
to lodge into
and,
one lodge into one?
No, you're
I'm good.
good.
And one more
You're
time,
good.
where should we get our coffee?
Buongiorno Coffee. Great
Buongiorno
Van or
Coffee.
Fort Worth, either place.
Perfect. Thank you again, David. Thank you for being here, and we will we'll be back with Wanker of the Week shortly. And thank you to David Clarke for coming on and dealing with both of us in that terrific interview. I loved hearing his stories of Liverpool and Anfield and his predictions. I like his predictions. I hope his UCL prediction comes true with Arsenal. But Barry, let's wrap up here. It's been a good episode, longer episode, but we got
A little
Wanker.
bit longer, but sometimes when you're talking and it just
It just
it's
happens.
good. Yeah,
Conversation
it's
flows. It's life. We do have to do Wanker of the Week. I know we touched on it early in the episode. I think we're both going to the same place. I'm
Yeah.
going Madueke. Is that who you're on today too?
good. Who?
Madueke, the Chelsea player.
Is that his name?
Yeah, the one who tried to take the penalty off
My
of Palmer.
wanker.
Is that your Wanker of the Week?
That's his name, isn't it? You just said it.
Madueke?
My wanker.
My Wanker, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're both
Well, he
giving it to
just
him.
proved it. He proved
Trying
it.
to come in and grab the penalty, and we touched on it early in the episode too. He didn't want to take the penalty when there was a pressure one the other week, but now when it's 4-0, suddenly he's walking up and grabbing the ball off
Yeah.
Palmer and shoving away. I just think it's childish. I think it's immature. I think it was a bad look. I think it's very easy to give him Wanker of the Week this week, yeah?
My wanker, you're a wanker.
Madueke, my Wanker. There you go. That'll do it for our episode today, guys. Again, big thank you to David Clarke, and make sure you come back next week for more podcast, more talk, more everything, really.
Oh, just come back next week.
Yeah,
Fucking
come
finish
back
it.
next week. Come back next week. Thanks, y'all.